Welcome to Basement Movie Room. We're back with a review of Tokyo Vice.
Yes.
The new series from HBO Max, starring Ken Watanabe, Ansel Elgort, and that's kind of all the people you'll probably recognize, although some significant Japanese actors and actresses in it. So Tokyo Vice follows the story of Jake. What's his last name? I can't remember his last name.
Edelstein.
Jake
Edelstein?
Adelstein.
Yeah.
A reporter in Japan, and the first episode kind of follows him trying to get a job with Meicho, which is the major paper in Tokyo. He is a graduate of the University of Missouri Columbia journalism school, which is just down the road from here. So he is in Japan. This is all based on his book. This is a true story. He's in Japan. He gets a job with Meicho, and he's the first foreign, or gaijin, as they call him, reporter to get a job with Meicho. And it's about him trying to make his way as a reporter in Japan. Essentially, the big story, of course, would be the Yakuza. And you also get point of views from Sato, who is a young Yakuza officer.
Yeah.
He's fantastic in this. He's really, really good.
Amazing.
And, what's her name? An American... An American female character.
They put San behind everything.
I can't remember her name, her real life name, but she's a pretty famous Samantha. Yeah, Sam. Yeah, who is she works in Shibuya, and I don't know if you were familiar with Shibuya before now, but Shibuya is like where all the clubs are in Tokyo. And the only reason I'm familiar with this is because I listened to a audio book about these murders that took place in Shibuya. But Shibuya is like the hostess clubs, where a lot of Japanese businessmen go to drink after work, and they have hostesses, these women who come and sit with them, and foreigners are pretty popular in these clubs. And Samantha, of course, is an American. She's actually Mormon, you come to find out, and was on a mission to Japan and decided to stay there. But Shibuya, they have companions, they sit at the table, and these women are essentially encouraging men to buy these expensive bottles of champagne and things like that. And
they're basically strippers without...
Yeah, it's somewhat the same, because Japan doesn't have the same standards in that regard.
Different little culture.
Yeah.
You'll find that out throughout this.
So we're essentially following those three characters. You also follow Ken Watanabe's detective character, who is seemingly not concerned with the Yakuza, but you slowly come through the episode that he is kind of a really smart guy, and he understands that taking the Yakuza down is not like an immediate thing.
It's keeping the balance with him.
Yeah. You also get Detective Miyamoto as well, who's like the rock star detective that they talk about. But as it goes forward, you realize that Jake will kind of do anything for a story. He's a very good reporter. He's trying to figure out different things. His big thing is just getting a story in the paper, which he does.
Yeah.
I mean, he does on multiple occasions, but his big story is going to be the Yakuza, and he's working with his direct supervisor, which she's fantastic. And I know I've seen her before.
She's been in...
She's been in a lot of stuff, but she's absolutely fantastic. She's Korean, I believe, actually.
She's been in...
She's Korean.
Yeah.
Think about Japan, and I don't know a lot of people know this, but they've got a large Korean... kind of like the United States, we're like a boiling pot. Well, Japan also has like a similar thing with Korean people. And she's Korean, but living in Japan, like that. So there's a large Korean contingent in Japan, but they're obviously the Japanese at that point.
Like the complex that she lives in.
Yeah.
Edelstein comes in, and he's like, Korean?
Yeah.
Here in Korean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a different dialect going on. And,
they're Korean descent people, and and I thought that was kind of a nice little thing to add in there, because there is a large Korean descent people in Japan that have migrated to Japan. So I thought that was kind of nice.
Not to interrupt you, but
Yeah, go ahead.
let's talk about the very first scene
Mm.
of the series.
Yeah, the very, very first scene, like you said, is a scene where Ken Watanabe's detective character and Ansel Elgort's Adelstein are going into this restaurant or bar, and they're talking to somebody that says, you need to stop this investigation.
They're both they both got on, Keller vests.
Yeah, they're both.
You're like, oh,
yeah,
they're both cops.
You do think he's a cop.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
But they go in there, and it kind of just cuts off and goes back like 2 years or something. I can't remember what it did. But it just cuts off, and you're like, oh, we're going to get back to that. Spoiler alert, you never get back to that in this season. So there's clearly setting up something for the next season. My guess is like the first episode of next season, we're going to get back to that. But
yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot.
I haven't heard that it's renewed, to be honest, at this point. But I assume it will be. It's a very good show.
I hope so.
But like throughout the series, you get this investigation where Ansel Elgort is seeing these people that have committed suicide, and that kind of pushes into the Yakuza investigation, because he figures out the Yakuza is running these loan scams where these people sign off on loans, and the loans are essentially life insurance policies that will pay no matter what, apparently. And then after they do this and they start not being able to pay these loans, the person starts calling them and encouraging them to commit suicide so they can pay off on a life insurance policy that's worth more than the loan, I assume. So that's what kind of gets Elgort into this. And then you also get the storylines of Sato, who is working for the Ishida? Is it Ishida clan of Yakuza? And you also have the Tozawa clan that's trying to move in on the Ishida clan. So you get kind of like the off play of that, because you're not just with the mid-show reporter all the time. You're getting Yakuza story, and I really like the old guy who's playing the head of Ishida clan. That guy's fantastic, so good.
Everybody's fantastic.
Yeah, everybody really is really good in this.
Oh.
And then you also get the story of Sam, who's trying to get out of her role as a companion at a Shibuya club and start her own club, and how that goes. And she's in a relationship with Sato, the Yakuza, and also at the same time sort of in a relationship with Adelstein.
Yeah, so
it's kind of a love triangle there.
Yeah, she knows how, the Yakuza run their businesses, so she's trying to get out on her own and stay away from that. So that's a whole new thing, a whole different storyline too, which is interesting.
Yeah. It's very deep.
Oh, yeah. There's so much going on. It's
very deep.
A lot of moving pieces.
And kind of at the end of the season is kind of like, an Empire Strikes Back ending. It's kind of a low ending, ultimately, for everybody, where it's kind of like, oh my God, this is not great for anybody,
I told you, I was watching it, and I didn't realize it was the last episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's no more episodes.
Yeah.
They left this totally open for the next. I was like, wow, okay.
Yep, they were sure.
There's a lot.
And just
that added up.
Michael Mann is a producer on this, and if you know Michael Mann's work, this is very distinctive of him. Like the kind of like very gritty type feel to it. Miami Vice, of course, was Michael Mann. Mm-hmm. The movie Collateral, Manhunter. He did the Miami Vice movie. I'm not going to give him credit for that one because I think it's terrible. But Mann does some great work, and he's a producer on this series, and you can feel that, I think. It very much feels like something Michael Mann was involved in.
It's so, so grounded.
Yeah.
It's nothing crazy. There's no there's one scene where you're like, holy crap, there's ninjas.
There are ninjas.
Yeah. But that's about the only scene where it's like over the top kind of action. Yeah. Everything else is like really grounded.
Oh yeah.
And wow, that this can happen in the underworld.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not going to get any more into it really. I think you should watch it ultimately. Yeah, it's terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's good in it. It's just really terrific. Do you want to rate it?
Yeah, I'll go with just a click below another show that we're going to review shortly.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go with probably a 4 or 5 on this show.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. It's a 4 or 5. It's terrific. The first season is really terrific. I mean, I will admit that there's some episodes where it got a little slow.
Yeah.
But it's all necessary for where the show is going. But yeah, 4 or 5.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's definitely a good slow burn.
Yeah.
The season finale is not really a climactic experience, but it totally makes a lot of sense of where they're going.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of might turn off a lot of people.
It could,
but I'm
if you're in,
you're
in.
I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I think that could turn off some people.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I was like, oh, I got no more episodes. I was sad.
Yeah.
Because I want more.
It's like we might have to wait like a year or two.
I want more. Yeah. So it's a good cliffhanger. So
yep, it's great.
Not climactic, but a cliffhanger, which is good. What you need.
All right, so that's Tokyo Vice. We'll see you next time on Basement Movie Room.
I got them.
Don't write about this.